Would you trust a computer made out of living brain cells? Imagine that your next computer wasn't built, but grown. Not made of metal or code, but real living brain cells. This might sound like science fiction, but it's not. Right now, scientists are training lab-grown neurons to play video games, control robots, and even outperform traditional AI in ways that we didn't even expect. In this video, we will explore a strange new frontier, synthetic biological intelligence, where living neurons form the core of intelligent machines. You'll see how a dish of neurons learned how to play Pong, how feedback creates learning, and by the end you'll see that this is not just about tech, but it is also about the future of consciousness itself. Hi there, I'm Yvette, a neuroscientist and an author of several neuroscience studies. On this channel I go beyond the scientific facts. I break down how the brain works, decode its mysteries, and explore deeper questions that they raise about who we are, what we believe, and how science can shape our future. So, if you've ever felt like your curiosity didn't quite fit in, well, you're in the right place. Imagine a future where a handful of living brain cells outperform the world's fastest computer, and by using less power than your bedside lamp. This isn't sci-fi anymore. So, what exactly is synthetic biological intelligence, or SBI for short? Instead of silicon chips or lines of code, SBI uses living neurons cultured in a dish and connected directly to a computer. These real brain cells process information, learn, and also adapt, just like the ones in your head. So, what exactly gives them the edge over a silicon chip? Neurons are the masters of efficiency, and although we have tried to imitate and replicate how and what they do, we still have not yet managed to outperform their efficiency. Your brain runs on around 20 watts of power, which is like a normal light bulb, while a supercomputer might require millions of times more energy to do a fraction of the job. Neurons process data in massively parallel ways, making split-second decisions and store enormous amounts of information. Yeah, even in the noisy, unpredictable situations. So, no wonder researchers are super excited about this, because this time round it's not about copying and imitating the brain, but in using nature's own hardware. And this leap is possible thanks to a system called DishBrain, the world's first real-time SBI platform. In a way, it's also the first time that we've seen signs of intelligence from neurons outside of the brain. So, how do you get a dish of neurons to play a video game? Well, the answer to this I didn't know until I read this paper. So picture this. Scientists grow neurons from mouse or human cells on a special type of electrode grid. And the purpose of these electrodes is to let the neurons talk to the computer running the video game called Pong. And with this, the neuron's activity controls the pedal, and when they fire in the right pattern, the pedal moves. But this is not random. The key here is feedback. When the neurons manage to intercept the ball with the pedal, they get a rewarding stimulus. But when the pedal misses the ball, the feedback is unpredictable or sometimes even negative. This closed feedback loop means that the actions of neurons have consequences. And from this, they learn to adapt. And here's the wild part. Over a very short period of time, the neurons started to get better at the game. They learned to intercept the ball more often, extending their rallies. But, crucially, learning only happened when the feedback was meaningful. Break the loop, and the learning stops. Even more fascinating was that the human neurons outperformed the mouse neurons, hinting at deep differences in learning capacity even outside of the body. So all in all, the bottom line, these neurons learned how to play Pong by changing their internal activity in order to achieve a goal in the digital world. This is cool. Scientists and their toys, you might think. But why does teaching neurons to play Pong matter? And that is because of one little basic thing. Because it is proof that intelligence, real adaptive learning, can emerge outside of the brain from living cells given a challenge and real feedback. If this tech goes mainstream, it could change how we build computers or even how we define intelligence. It also supports theories like the free energy principle, that all living systems learn by minimizing surprise and predicting the world. But of course, this experiment has its own limitations, because the feedback that they get is a simple electrical simulation, not some kind of a sense like vision or touch. The game is extremely basic. It's just Pong, not language or chess. And so far, there has been no sign that these neurons can think symbolically or generalize, like humans do. And yet, the field is moving fast. In Switzerland, Finance Park has built a bioprocessors making use of brain organoids, which are cultured mini-brains. And these bioprocessors can be accessed by researchers all around the world by accessing the cloud or via internet. Then, in China, researchers claim that they have built a robot which is controlled by living brain cells. A brain on a chip that can grasp objects and make contact with the real world. But here, as a neuroscientist, I have to put a red flag actually, because an organoid is huge, should have like massive necrotic core, which practically defeats the purpose of having such a big organoid. I have to admit, I didn't research this robot too much in depth, but if you're interested, I can do a future video actually with a deep dive on this. But anyway, let's go to the third point, and that is that in the US there is a company called Cortical Labs. You know, some of the authors from the Ponk paper that I mentioned earlier, well, they have seen the potential of this technology and started a company. And now they are set to release the first commercial biological computer later this year. And by this I mean later in 2025, in case you're seeing it later in the future. I'm very excited about this, so let's keep an eye on Cortical Labs and see what comes out. So it seems that hybrid computers, machines that combine living brain cells and silicon, aren't so much of a dream anymore. They're already here solving problems with a fraction of the energy that their silicon counterparts use. And here we are only scratching the surface. What happens when these systems start to teach themselves? Could we see one day artificial life grown, not built? What would you do with a computer that learns and adapts like a living thing? Well, it's cool, right? But actually some scientists worry, because could we accidentally create real consciousness in a dish? This isn't just curiosity, it could be the first step towards creating a hybrid system. And in doing so, we will be combining the best of both worlds. The adaptability and efficiency of biology, and the speed and scalability of computers. Cool. Well, that is something to look forward to. If a dish of cells can learn how to play Pong, what else becomes possible when we blur the line between biology and technology? AI is advancing faster than ever, but the deeper we go, the more we're bumping into fundamental limits. The sheer amount of training data required, massive energy demands, and a learning paradigm that is starting to show its age. And while LLMs are transforming our world, it is clear that simply scaling up, it's not enough. So actually, what comes next? Maybe it is time to rethink intelligence entirely and look not just to silicon, but biology itself. And if you're curious how your brain still outsmarts even the smartest AI, well, make sure to watch this video next. And as for whether we should try to break through these limits, well, much like governments everywhere right now, I will leave that debate up to you. After all, it's not like choices about AI and biology could ever backfire on society. Or wait, could they?